Let me start by expressing my thanks for the very cordial cooperation I had today with my good friends, both Minister Morgan Johansson and Anders Ygeman. Did I say that well?
Yes,
good.
Perfect.
I learned quickly. Well, it was really a constructive and fruitful discussion we had on both issues, on what has to do with migration, with refugees crisis, but also on security issues. Dear friends, in the last few months, Europe has had to tackle one of its biggest challenges in recent history, the refugee crisis. This has proven to be a major challenge for Sweden and for most European Union's member states. Yet, Sweden was one of the first European Union's member states to rise to the occasion. Sweden is among the group of member states that has welcomed the highest numbers of refugees this year. It is a small country that makes an enormous effort. Sweden was the very first European Union's country to participate in the Commission's relocation scheme by accepting in October a group of Eritrean asylum seekers from Italy. Sweden also participates in the UNAVFOR Med Sophia operation to fight migrant smugglers in the Mediterranean, and in the Frontex-led operation Poseidon in Greece to save lives. So, on behalf of the European Union, I would like to publicly commend Sweden's great efforts during these very challenging times. Sweden has been a true example, a true paradigm of European solidarity and of taking up responsibility. But if there was one thing that the refugee crisis has made clear over the past few months, is that no country can handle this alone, and it should not. That is precisely why I'm here in Stockholm today, to emphasize that the European Commission stands by Sweden and that we are ready to help. Minister Johansson and I had the opportunity to exchange views and to discuss what we can do together in order to better manage this crisis. First of all, I share your government's disappointment that certain member states are not yet willing to show the same level of solidarity as Sweden or many other European Union countries. We therefore agree on the need to intensify our efforts to ensure that everyone fulfills their commitments. I also very much appreciate the fact that Sweden is strongly in favour of reforming the Dublin system. In fact, I share Sweden's point of view. I believe that we need a fair sharing of responsibility. That is why the Commission has decided to speed up the review of the Dublin system early next year. In the meantime, Sweden has asked to become beneficiary of the relocation mechanism. We completely understand this. The Commission is preparing the relevant proposals aimed at proposing relocation from Sweden and exempting Sweden from relocating from Italy and Greece. It will be a substantial support. In parallel, we have to speed up the relocation mechanism from Greece and Italy, fully operationalise the hotspot systems, and decrease the secondary flows via the Western Balkans route, which also has disproportionate effects here in Sweden. As I said, we are ready to help Sweden in more ways than one. Under the Asylum, Migration and Integration Fund, we have allocated to Sweden a total of €154 million for the period 2014-2020, out of which almost €51 million is dedicated to asylum and reception needs. The Commission has now released the pre-financing payments of €10.8 million, which can be used immediately to relieve the pressure on your asylum system. Also, under the Internal Security Fund, the ISF, we made available €11.5 million for visa and border management. The Commission has also taken good note of Sweden's request for emergency assistance under the Asylum, Migration and Integration Fund, and we are currently assessing the request. Now, a few words about the internal borders. The Commission took note of the notification concerning the temporary introduction of border controls at your internal borders. I appreciate your commitment to limiting the controls to what is strictly necessary to respond to the identified threat, and I hope that these controls will be removed, will be lifted as soon as the situation comes back to normal. Both ministers and myself, we agree that Schengen, one of Europe's greatest achievements, cannot in any way be undermined. I was also informed of the government's decision to allocate additional resources to border police for implementing return decisions. The Commission fully supports your efforts in the return of irregular migrants. In the coming weeks, we will put forward a number of new initiatives to support these efforts in the framework of our action plan on return. Dear friends, the refugee crisis is not only felt at the external borders, it is also right here in Sweden. No member state can address this situation alone. We will only overcome this crisis if we act united, if we act in a true spirit of responsibility and solidarity. Sweden, as I said at the beginning, is a true example of this spirit, and the European Commission is here to help it uphold it. Thank you very much for your attention.